Hello. Hello. I see Jeanette's here. Nice to see you. Can you hear me okay? Is that working? Let me know. It's kind of hard to tell whether it's working or not. Yeah, good, great. So my sound is working, looks like my video is working. We're all working mostly. So I see there's a few folks that have joined us. Yeah, feel free to write in the chat box, say hello, check in, let me know you're out there. Great. And we'll just spend the next few minutes just letting people arrive. And while we're waiting, if you just wanted to make sure that you're close to the space that you were going to meditate in, whether that's a chair or on the floor on your cushions, or a sofa or on the floor, whatever, just make sure you have everything that you need. Great. Hi, Julie. Nice to see you. And Kuladharni's in the house. That's good. Nice to see you, or hear from you anyways. And thanks for the cup shout out from Jeanette. Yeah, so just wait a few more minutes and then we'll get started. So yeah, feel free to write into the chat where you're coming in from. I'm here in lovely south side of Glasgow, and it's a bit grey today. Hi, Shantivadra, nice to see you. Welcome back, everyone. Kuladharni's coming in from the couch in Maryhill. Great. Hi, Bhaivacha. Great. Sounds working, visuals working. Yay! It all came together. So this is our first public live stream that we've done, and it's nice to have you all here with us. People arriving. Got about 9 people on today so far. Nice to have you with us again. If you've just joined us, feel free to type in the chat, let us know you're here, and yeah, give us a sense of where you're coming in from. That'd be great. And I'm really happy to hear that the sound is good, and hopefully there'll be no whooshing. We've been testing these out. I think a lot of you have been with us over this time, testing these out kind of in a kind of private way, just to kind of make sure that we've got everything going. So this is our first public whoosh free, I'm hearing from Bhaivacha. That's great. So that's nice to hear. Yeah, so here we all find ourselves in this unprecedented time. And this is just one of the things that, oh great, someone coming in from Ayrshire today. Nice to see you, TB. Hello. Yeah, so this is just one of the offerings that the Glasgow Buddhist Centre is doing during this lockdown. And so we'll be doing these on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 12:30 to 1:30. Today we're going to be looking at the mindfulness of breathing, and then on Thursday we're going to look at the Metta Bhavana and share a little bit more about those practices with you as a way to introduce people to these meditation practices. Okay, so it's 12:30, so we'll get started. Welcome everyone. We've got about 14 people with us today. That's nice to see folks here. So as I was saying, this is the Glasgow Buddhist Centre. And this is our live stream introduction to meditation. And my name is Pasadni, and I'll be your host today. It all feels a bit strange, so you have to bear with my bad jokes, I'm afraid. So yeah, so we're here just trying to introduce folks to meditation practices, obviously very helpful at any time, but especially now during this lockdown for us all here in Scotland. And I'm assuming most people are coming in from Scotland, but people might be coming in from other places as well. So if you are welcome, you are more than welcome here. And so I'll say a little bit about what we're going to do today in this next hour, and then we'll do it. So I'm just going to say a few things about meditation, just generally to start, and then I'll talk a little bit about posture. I won't do a lot about posture. We will have some resources on our channel at some point in the next week or so to talk about posture a little bit more in depth to help people find their posture. And so I'm going to say just a little bit, enough kind of to say today to get people set up so that you can do the meditation if you're new to meditation. And then I'm going to lead in a short body awareness practice just to allow us to continue to arrive in this space together. And then I'll introduce you to the meditation that we're going to do today, which is the mindfulness of breathing. So I'll say a little bit more about that in a bit. And then we'll do the practice together. I'll lead you through that, a 20-minute mindfulness of breathing practice. And then there'll be time for questions at the end. So feel free to write in the chat, as a lot of you are doing right now. So yeah, feel free to engage with the chat during this next hour as a way to just bring yourself into the space and to say hello and help you to arrive as well. And then you'll be all ready with your questions at the end of the session. And then I'll just say at the end just a little bit about how the Glasgow Buddhist Center works. And then that'll be it. That'll be our hour together. So hopefully it will be an enjoyable and nourishing time together. So I'm just going to move back onto my cushions and then say a little bit more when I do that. So I'll just get settled. Okay, so I was thinking a little bit about how I would kind of talk about meditation today. And I was thinking about, well, why do we meditate? Yeah. Why does one meditate? And then I was thinking, well, why do I meditate? Yeah. So just share a little bit about why I do these practices, why I think these have been important to dedicate my life to for the last 20 years. So yeah, meditation is really important for me as a place to have some space in my life, to help quieten down my mind so that I can engage more skillfully in my life off the cushion. So that feels, so there's a real strong, so with mindfulness, which is what we're going to be looking at today, the mindfulness of breathing, there's a strong ethical component in Buddhism around mindfulness. It may not be something that's so readily talked about in the kind of secular mindfulness movement, but in Buddhism, the original kind of origins of talking about developing mindfulness is about developing that skillfulness in our lives so that we can act from a more skillful, more kind, more connected way in the world. So in order to do that, we have meditation as a space to allow the mind to settle so that we can see things a little bit more clearly. We can see more clearly how we react, how we act in the world, and be able to take more deeper responsibility for that action and those reactions that we have in our lives. So I find that particularly important for my life as well as my Buddhist practice. So, so just wanted to say a few things about that. So I'm going to say a little bit about posture, just to help us get into a position that feels comfortable for today. So as you can see, my posture is I sit on the floor. You don't need to sit on the floor to meditate. You're more than welcome to sit in a chair if you find that comfortable. So what's important as some sort of principles to think about in terms of meditation is finding a posture that feels comfortable, finding a posture that allows your body to be open and relaxed, and have a sense of spaciousness in the body. Yeah. So usually we find that sense of spaciousness when there's less tension in our bodies. Yeah. So so finding a posture where your body can kind of open and relax, and feel alert as well. Alertness is obviously another important component to meditation practice. You definitely don't want a posture where your mind and your body is going to feel kind of dozy. And it may just be that you need to take a nap, and that's fine. But how we put our bodies into our posture for meditation is very, very important kind of foundation and what's the word I'm looking for? I will stick with foundation. The other word's not coming right now. It sort of lays the groundwork, as it were, for the actual practice of meditation. So finding a posture that works for you right now, whether it's sitting in your couch, sitting in a chair, sitting on the floor if you're familiar with that, or lying on the ground as well can be helpful posture for meditation. So it's really important. The Buddha recommended that people develop mindfulness, which is what we're going to be looking at today. Develop mindfulness in all postures of the body. So lying down, sitting, standing, and walking. So lying down is a perfectly fine posture to take for meditation. It does sometimes make people feel more sleepy. So that's just something to be aware of, and really important with any meditation practice, whether you're finding posture, is to develop a sense of experimentation, with what you're doing. So just really encourage you to experiment with finding a posture that works for you, and know that your posture and your comfort in your posture will change over time as well. So when I first learned how to meditate, my posture I used was kneeling for quite a few years. And then this posture has become more comfortable for me over the last couple of years, especially as my yoga practice has developed more recently as well. I've got more flexibility in my legs particularly. So, but we all just have to find the posture that feels comfortable for us. So again, just coming back to those principles of relaxed, comfortable, stable. And then just a few things about the hands. So sometimes I like to have like a blanket or something to just kind of tuck my hands into. It helps them stay warm. Also really helpful to keep your legs warm during meditation and have be less warm on the top part of your body. That helps to kind of keep you a bit more awake, but also helps if you keep your legs warm, it helps with knee pain and leg pain and things like that. So, okay, so that's just a few kind of tips about posture. So if you'll find the posture that you feel comfortable in, we'll start with just a 5-minute body awareness practice together. So during that practice, and also during the meditation later, I will be ringing a bell. So it'll sound like this. And I'll ring that bell at the beginning and the end of the meditation, but also when we're doing the stages of the mindfulness of breathing, I'll be ringing that during the stages as well, just to denote the end of one stage and the beginning of the next. Okay, so taking the time to find your posture, and then when you're ready, just closing your eyes if that feels comfortable. I'll be keeping my eyes sort of down so that I can make sure I'm following the time. So tuning in, tuning into your body as it is right now. However you find your body in this moment. Being aware of the whole of the body, the whole of this body in this posture. Just allowing yourself to have a general sense of how it feels to be embodied right now. So as I'm encouraging you to tune in, it really is just how it is right now. Just being aware of any ideas that you have about how it should be or could be or was in the past. And just seeing if you can drop those. And then coming back to how it is right now in this body. And then you can start by just gently taking your awareness down from the top of the head through the face and the back of the head, down into the neck. Just tuning in as you go to how your body feels. And coming into the neck and the shoulders. Coming into the arms and the hands. There's usually quite a lot of sensation in the hands. So sometimes that's an easy place for people to tune in and notice the sensations of the body. And then coming back to the chest and the upper back, moving down through the torso, the back, the mid-back. Just noticing whatever is there, whether it's tension, maybe just a sense of aliveness or awakeness, pleasant sensations, or maybe a sensation of not much, maybe a dullness or a blankness. Whatever it is, it's fine. Just honing your sense of awareness, connection, and then coming down into the belly, the low back, feeling the breath And then tuning into the hips and the legs. Just taking your awareness down into the knees, the lower legs, the ankles, and the feet. Just say hello to all the parts of the body. And then coming back to tuning into a general sense of the body, sitting here, and just noticing if anything feels different now that we've kind of scanned through the body. As you notice more generally the experience of embodiment. Does anything feel different? And then when you're ready, just ending the meditation and opening your eyes. Great. So it's really helpful before you start any meditation practice, if you just take a few minutes and just tune in, just generally to the body. So I'm going to just explain just briefly so you kind of know where we're going in terms of the mindfulness of breathing. I'm going to just explain the stages, and then I'll lead you through a guided meditation of the mindfulness of breathing. So there's 4 stages to the mindfulness of breathing. So we'll be doing a 20-minute practice, and so we'll be doing 5 minutes on each stage, thereabouts. Yeah. So in the first stage, we're tuning into the end of the out breath. Yeah. So just noticing that there's a rhythm to the breath. There's an in breath, there's an out breath, and then there's another in breath, another out breath. And so what we're going to be doing is honing into that end of the out breath. So just when you notice the end of the out breath, just dropping in silently in your mind the counting. So we're going to be using counting from 1 through 10. And then when you get to 10, just come back to 1. Yeah. So we're just using the counting just to help us stay a little bit more aware and a little bit more focused on the aim of the first stage, which is to tune in to the end of the out breath. Yeah. And then I just encourage you, as we're going through these stages, just notice what happens when you do that. Yeah, notice what happens when you bring your awareness to the end of the out breath. What happens, what unfolds. And then in the second stage, we're going to be changing. We're still tuning into the in and the out breath. And we're going to change the point of our focus, which is just going to be just before the beginning of the in-breath. Yeah. So just that point where you begin to feel the shift between the out-breath and the in-breath, just before the start of the in-breath. And you'll be dropping in the counting at that place as well. So again, we're going to just do that. And I'll lead you through, so don't worry about remembering any of these stages. In the third stage, we drop the counting and we're just aware of the flow of breath. We're aware of the in-breath and the out-breath, and we're just aware of that kind of flow of in-breath and out-breath. And you can be aware of the sensation of breathing and how that changes from breath to breath. Yeah. The texture of the breath. Just noticing the breath in all of its fullness. Yeah. And then in the last stage of the practice, we bring our attention, we're going from this kind of broader sense of the breath, noticing the breath, And then we're just focusing our attention on a very narrow part of the body where the breath, where you feel the sensations of breathing first in the body. So generally speaking, most people feel it somewhere sort of like their top lip, back of their nose, back of their throat, depending on whether you're breathing through your mouth or your nose. Yeah. Could be your lips if you're breathing in your mouth. So just notice that, and then just keep your awareness there. And then just notice the changing sensations of breath in that particular part of the body. Just honing your sense of awareness. So that is the 4-stage practice. And if you just find your posture, keeping that thread of connection with the body, we'll start the practice. So I'll ring the bell, and then I'll lead you through the practice. Okay, so just taking a moment to just collect yourself, tuning in. Noticing how you feel now, which could be different than how you felt even 5 minutes ago. Noticing how it is. Excuse me. Sorry, I've got a bit of a tickle. So just staying aware of how you are right now. And then tuning into the breath, the sensations of breathing in the body. And then aware of the out-breath. And then dropping in your counting at the end of the out-breath. And when your mind wanders off and gets distracted by stories, ideas, fantasizing, whatever it is, just noticing that. And just collecting your awareness, coming back to the body, coming back to the breath. And then the end of the out-breath. And however you experience your mind right now, it's okay. We're just building up our muscle of awareness, of mindfulness. So just noticing, having this space to come into relationship with how you are right now. And allowing mind to focus on the end of the out-breath and using the counting as an aid. And whenever you get distracted and you've lost count, just coming back to one. It's okay. We all get distracted. So now, just in your own time, moving into the next stage of the practice. Staying aware of the in and the out breath, and now just focusing on the point just before the beginning of the in breath. And then dropping in the counting. And then just noticing how that feels. What happens as you focus on that point just before the beginning of the in-breath and use the counting? What do you notice? And it's okay if it all feels a bit awkward at first. Just coming back each time your mind wanders, doubts arise, any restlessness happens or tiredness. Just coming back to the simple flow of breath, to that point just before the beginning of the in-breath. So simple. And sometimes so difficult to keep our attention. But just having faith that your practice is helpful in just building more awareness, building more resilience, more space to be able to see what's actually going on. Okay, and now in your own time again, just dropping the counting, coming into the third stage. And now just being aware of the whole of the breath, the in-breath and the out-breath. What's that feel like right now, this breath in this body? What do you notice? And as your mind wanders off into whatever it does, whatever it's doing, just noticing that beautiful moment of awareness. And coming back to the breath. Coming back to this flow of in and out breath. And again, it's okay if it feels a bit awkward at first, if you're not quite sure if you're doing it right. Just be assured that there is no right way. There's just this here, and being aware of that, whatever it is, whatever the experience, can you just notice it? Can you be interested in it? Finding a sense of curiosity about your breath. This breath that just breathes itself. We don't need to control the breath. It's just breathing. Just arising and passing. So now moving into the last stage of the practice. And as we do, just tuning in for a second to the posture and making any micro adjustments that you need to make. Refreshing the posture. And then finding that point where you first notice breath coming into the body. And it may be quite subtle, and that's okay. But just resting your awareness on that spot. And then just noticing what happens there as the breath comes in and the breath goes out, coming and going. this breath, in this body, in this moment, in this point in the body where you notice the sensations of breathing. Even if they feel quite subtle or even quite coarse, it's okay. Just building that muscle of awareness, of kindly attention to your experience, of being alive, of being embodied. And then just noticing what happens when you do that, when you commit to that again and again and again. It doesn't matter if you come back 20 times, 100 times, one time. Just building that muscle. Building that heart of faithfulness to the process of awareness. And increasing wakefulness in your life. And then just at the end of the meditation, we've got just a minute left. See if you can drop any effort. So just dropping any sense of focusing or effort. Just be here. Just sitting here. Just lying here, however you are right now. Just here. Notice. So in your own time, just opening your eyes, coming back into the space where you are right now. And then just taking a moment just to notice how you feel now. How do you feel right now after that period of meditation? And sometimes it can be helpful if you're developing a meditation practice to keep a meditation journal just to by your cushions or wherever you meditate, by your chair. And then just notice through writing how you are. Yeah. So we've got a few minutes. I'm just going to move up a little closer to my screen. So move a few things about so I can do that. And then so if you have any questions, just feel free to type them in to the chat box, and I'll just sit here and answer any questions I can. Or I've got a few friends on the live chat with me today, and they will also be available to answer any questions. And Kuladarni's just put up more meditation resources. There's a PDF that we put together with continuing the meditation resources. Yeah, quite a lot of resources actually. So like links to talks and links to other information about meditation, information about posture and things like that. So do feel free to check those out on that link. And it's on our website, but I think you need the link to get to. I don't think we posted it on our website yet. So we will at some point, but for now you can just use the link and it'll take you to a PDF. So a couple folks are saying, yeah, they enjoyed that. They thought it was, yeah, great, wonderful, perfect. Any questions or what else you noticed? What happened for you during your sit today? Anything that you'd like to share that would be helpful? Happy to answer any questions or hear whatever feedback you have about your meditation. I'm also really happy to hear that the sound was good. And sorry about my coughing, but I hope that wasn't too loud. Sometimes you just get a little tickle. It always happens when you've just rung the bell as well. It's like Murphy's Law. If you're familiar with that saying, that might be an Americanism. Apologize if I say things that are culturally, well, not inappropriate, but like don't make any sense. Yeah, great. I'm glad you enjoyed that, Julie. Nice to see you again here, and Karen as well. Glad that folks were able to join us. I did have a poem that I was going to read, which I realized that I'd forgotten to put down by, so I can, if you have any questions, feel free back. I'll just read you a poem. So this is a poem by Kabir, which I've just discovered recently. Oh, great. Oh, great. Great. Someone's got a question. You leave the poem for now. Any tip for preventing the breath becoming forced while counting? Yeah, sometimes that happens when we're trying to really focus on the breath and try and like stay attentive, stay aware. I would say this for any time that you notice any kind of tension or forcedness in your experience. I would say that I would just take a minute just to maybe come back into a general sense of the body, yeah, and maybe refresh your posture. I find that helpful if I'm starting to get a bit sort of tense and willful in my practice. I can just take a breath and come back and refresh my posture, and then come back to the focus of the meditation. Yeah, see if that helps. And yeah, I noticed that in the fourth stage, my imagination had the breath as the color blue. Beautiful. I'm just wondering if that was distracting at all, or if that was just a helpful kind of aid to your awareness. Calm and connected. Great. Helpful. Helpful for being able to move into our lives in a more gentle way, to feel calm and connected. Again, like I was saying at the beginning of the session, I find this is the reason why I meditate, yeah, so that I can sort of help to slow down all the processes that want to kind of like quicken up and then just make me more reactive to my experience. So Jeanette's saying it was a bit helpful, and you noticed it, she noticed it more in one nostril. Okay. Again, just with these sorts of things that happen during meditation, it's helpful to notice whether it feels like it's a distraction. Sorry, I don't know what's happening in my voice. If it feels like it's a distraction, or if it feels, like it's a helpful kind of aid to your practice. And this is just the point of meditation, is like we're just experimenting. We all have stuff that comes up in our meditation, and we have to learn to be flexible and curious and experiment, really experiment. So Francis is saying, thank you. I had tried cushions instead of chair today and my legs got sore, not used to it, I guess. 4 stage was good. I moved back to chair, so I was a bit all over the shop reposture today. Okay, I'm not sure how new to meditation you are, Francis, but that is very common in terms of trying to find the posture that works for you. Without sort of seeing the cushion setup that you have, I can't really comment on that. But yeah, I would just say, just continue to experiment. It took me quite a long time to find my initial posture in meditation, the kneeling posture. Because everyone's hips are different in terms of how open they feel, our knees, how susceptible they are to feeling pain, discomfort. And then also there's this other thing that comes up with meditation is sometimes we need to just get used to a posture as well. So our bodies aren't used to being in these postures, they're not used to sitting on the floor. So sometimes we have to kind of play with this balance between, so if it's pain, then I would say, if it's severe pain, then it's definitely need to move. But if it's a bit of soreness in the muscles or the tendons, then it may just be about kind of getting used to it. So you have to just kind of play around with that. And I'm glad to see, Francis, that you decided to respond to what you needed and moved into a chair. That's great. I think I've said this before. Well, maybe not here though. Sometimes in a long meditation retreat, I find it really helpful just to lie. Sometimes if I'm in a, have been meditating quite a lot during the day, so my body might feel a bit sore from sitting. Sometimes I just lie down, and I find that really helpful, and that sense of just like being able to let go into the lying down can be really, really quite beneficial to my meditation. And again, being able to lie down and stay awake is a skill that you can kind of develop. So I would definitely not try that if you're feeling tired, because you probably will just fall asleep. But if you're quite awake and you want to just try kind of the lying down posture to get used to being able to work in the meditation from that posture, I would definitely recommend it. It's a really helpful posture. Okay, so I'll just read this poem and then I'll say a little bit about how we run at the Buddhist Center, and then I'll say cheerio and thank everyone for being here. So again, this is a poem by Kabir, and it's called A Place to Sit. Don't go outside your house to see flowers. My friend, don't bother with that excursion. Inside your body there are flowers. One flower has 1,000 petals. That will do for a place to sit. Sitting there, you will have a glimpse of beauty, inside the body and out of it, before gardens and after gardens. I quite like that poem because I feel like it really evokes for me that sense of what what meditation is sort of taking us towards in terms of noticing the beauty inside of us and then being able to appreciate the beauty that's all around us more fully. Yeah. And that doesn't mean that it's always easy. It doesn't mean that there isn't difficulty or suffering in the world, but can we see that suffering, but also feel nourished by the beauty as well? Yeah, so can we hold both? So a little bit about how the Buddhist Center runs. So we're doing everything that we offer at the Buddhist Center is free for anyone to access and to use. And we do ask that if you can help us by donating, and Kuladharni's put the link, if you can donate to help support us so that we can continue to offer these resources as widely and as freely as we can, then we would love that. The Buddhist tradition we've gotten here today because of the generosity of countless men and women and other beings who've shared their practice with the world and continued that endless lineage of giving. So we are here, I am here because of the giving of those who've come before me. So I want to offer to others. And so we would love it if you could help us continue that lineage by helping us keep the center running financially. But if you can't offer as well, that's absolutely fine. Please feel free to take advantage of these resources. They are definitely offered freely. The Dharma is priceless. That's why we don't charge for it. So thank you for joining us, and thank you for all for being here for our inaugural public launch of these live stream meditations. I've really appreciated all of your questions and your engagement with the chat. And yeah, as Kuladharni says, please do let your friends know about this opportunity to learn to meditate. We're offering it to anyone. We're particularly interested in connecting with folks from Scotland, but please, if anyone wants to come and join us, then they're more than welcome. So thank you and enjoy your day. And yeah, just remember to notice what's happening and notice your breath. Take care.